Earn by Time is a pay mode that's been offered by DoorDash for almost 2 years now, and since its release, I've been using it almost exclusively. I make $20 to $25 an hour consistently while also keeping my acceptance rate above 70% so I can maintain platinum status and dash at any time. I've come to learn everything there is to know about how to make the most money possible on Earn by Time, and I'm going to share it with you today. And I've learned what not to do on Earn by Time as well, so don't worry, I'll get to that too. But first, let me explain how Earn by Time works. When you accept an order on Earn by Time, you are paid their guaranteed hourly rate, the one that you saw before you started your dash, from the moment you accept the order until the moment you complete the order in base pay. For example, if your hourly rate says $14 an hour and you were on a delivery for 30 minutes, you would receive $7 in base pay plus any tips. This means you're not guaranteed this number throughout the entire duration of your dash, just for the time you were active on a delivery, and realistically, there is downtime in a normal dash, whether you're stopping to get gas, driving back from a long mileage delivery, or simply waiting to receive offers. You might only actually be active for 2/3 of your dash time. This means in actuality, you might only get paid 66% of your Earn by Time hourly rate plus tips. Now, speaking of tips, you still can get tips on Earn by Time, but these tips are lower, and you can't see how much they are until after you complete the order. The tips being lower on Earn by Time isn't speculation, by the way. DoorDash actually tells you this in the app. They've changed their language around tips on Earn by Time quite a few times, but just a few months ago, the app read, "The rate will factor in that tips will be less frequent on these orders." And after doing hundreds, if not a few thousand orders on Earn by Time, I believe that DoorDash also sends you the orders going the farthest distance. 10-mile plus deliveries are not uncommon on Earn by Time, so in short, Earn by Time offers higher base pay, but also gives you lower tips and more miles. Lastly, you are only allowed to decline one order per hour on Earn by Time. You can decline a second order, but it will end your dash, and you will have to wait until 1 hour after your last decline to start back up on Earn by Time. Now that you understand how it works, here's how to make it work for you. But first, a word from today's sponsor, Rocket Money. If you're like me, you like saving money just as much as you like making money. I've been saving up money because I'm moving next month. You might be saving money for a new car because DoorDash blew up your last one. Well, regardless of what your reason is, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, is here to help. I use Rocket Money to cancel unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money safely and securely identifies recurring charges and helps cancel them for you. It's extremely easy to do as it just takes a few taps. Rocket Money also analyzes my spending habits and helps me set a budget that is fit for my lifestyle. I can see a breakdown of all my spending per category like groceries and bills. And with this information, I've realized, maybe I should stop eating so much grass-fed steak. Rocket Money has helped its customers save up to $740 a year when they use all of the features, with over $500 million total in canceled subscriptions. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Nuggs or click the link in the description to get started today for free. You can also unlock even more cool features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/Nuggs to get started for free, and thanks again to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. When you see an offer, there are 3 things you should consider before deciding to take it or not: the mileage of the order, the restaurant, and the drop-off area. Here's a little graphic I made in about 3 fucking minutes in Photoshop. Now, don't be confused, this is not the Guinea country flag backwards, this is a visual about DoorDash order mileage. I take essentially every order below 4 miles because these are low risk, moderate reward. Since you're not driving a lot of miles, a no tip order doesn't hurt as much, and additionally, if they do tip even just a few bucks, these orders can pay really well, because you basically reap the benefits of a higher base pay without putting a bunch of extra miles on your car. Orders going 4 to 8 miles, which are the most common, are usually an accept, but I do give these more thought. With these orders, I begin to consider the restaurant I'm picking up from and the area I will deliver the order to. If it's an order from, let's say, a coffee shop going 7 or 8 miles, I will decline this because I know somebody probably ordered a single drink, and I'm looking at a $0 to $3 tip. If the order I see is going to a low-income apartment complex, a school, a hospital, or just a bad area in general, I will decline. People who argue that poor people tip more are just delusional. It doesn't make you classist to choose not to deliver in a less profitable area, and from my experience doing several thousand earned by time deliveries, apartments, schools, hospitals, and rundown areas produce the lowest tips on average. Now, I feel like I need to state my opinion here, even though this is not an opinion video, but I think it's relevant here. I dislike tipping culture, and I don't blame anybody for not tipping, especially when they turn a corner and every single service, every single business wants a tip for doing their job. The way the United States is going, in 20 years from now, I could get hit by a car, and the doctor giving my emergency surgery will decide how good of a job he will do based on the tip I gave him before I sat in the operating room. But as a DoorDash driver, tips are a big part of how you make money, and just like it's not selfish, in my opinion, to not tip your driver, it's not selfish to not want to deliver orders without one either. So on Earned by Time, I would stay away from Section 8 apartments, schools, or hospitals unless you know the specific person you're delivering to tips well. And for orders going over 8 miles, these are more situational. I would say I probably take 50% of these orders. I will take them if they're going to a nice area or they're taking me into another zone that I can dash from. But otherwise, again, if it's a small amount of food or an undesirable drop-off location, I would choose not to take that. Now, DoorDash is also experimenting with this thing called Zone Exit Pay, which is an additional $2 bonus on orders going out of your zone. But this is a pilot test, so I don't believe every market has this. But I thought I would mention this because if you do have Zone Exit Pay, then it does make these high mileage orders a little bit more worth it. So to end this point, I thought I would give some actual examples of orders I would and would not take on Earned by Time. I'll show 5 examples of each, and the ones I did take, I'll show how much they actually paid. So here is an order that I would not take. This order was going to a not so nice area. It was a fried chicken restaurant where nobody ordering from tips, and it was a 14-mile delivery. That was a hard pass for me. Next was a Chipotle order going 10 miles, but the drop-off location has no nearby restaurants, so I would have to drive the whole way back. And so for 21 miles round trip, I didn't think it was likely that this would be worth it. Here's a USPS delivery done through DoorDash. Obviously, there's no tips eligible for these types of orders, and it was 12 miles, so I declined. This order right here, it shouldn't even fucking exist. I mean, what is that? And this order is an example of a rare case where I would decline an order going 4 miles or less. This was going to a customer that I've delivered to at an apartment before that does not tip, and so I didn't take it because I knew I could do better. Now for the 5 that I did take, here's a few orders I took of moderate mileage, knowing that they were going to neighborhoods full of people that could buy me and make me rub their feet 23 hours a day. A $10.50 tip here, $5.62 tip here, $7 there. Here's an order I thought would be good, given that this is kind of a more expensive restaurant, and I did get burnt here with a $0 tip, but given that most people do tip at least a few bucks, I can handle something like this every here and there when I know orders like this one are out there. Now, yes, an order like this is obviously pretty rare, but I do use this order as an example to say that it is still possible to see very high tips on Earned by Time. You're just a little less likely. Next, let's talk about stacked orders. In my opinion, unless you're getting a stack going over 20 miles, which is extremely rare, I would take every single stack order you see. Stack offers pay more because obviously completing 2 orders takes longer than 1. I mean, duh. So increased base pay plus potentially 2 customer tips. Now, the best part of stacked orders, however, is that you can possibly get a base pay that is higher than the hourly rate you were guaranteed. And to explain how this works, let me go back. When Earned by Time was first introduced, there was no minimum order pay. My hourly rate at the time was $11 an hour, which comes out to 18 cents a minute. If I were to complete an order in just 5 minutes at this 18 cents a minute, DoorDash would pay me 90 cents to deliver the order. And DoorDash knew that if this stayed, nobody would be using Earned by Time, so they implemented a change last year, making every single order on Earned by Time pay no less than $2 each. After this update, this means if you deliver a double dash on Earned by Time, which is just 2 orders from 2 different restaurants going to the same customer, you now receive the full hourly rate from picking up both orders and driving to the customer, plus an additional $2 on the second part of the stack, plus any tips on either order. This makes double dash orders always worth it. Stack offers to 2 separate customers also follow this same rule. If the second order in a stack is completed before the $2 minimum is reached, which varies based on your pay but usually takes 8 to 10 minutes, then you are receiving a base pay that is higher than what was guaranteed guaranteed, as well as tips from 2 separate customers. I routinely get stacks on Earn by Time for $15 to $20, and so if you see them, do not pass them up. Additionally, if you have the zone exit pay that I mentioned earlier, 2 orders going out of your zone does grant you an additional $4 on that stack, so stacks are really what carry Earn by Time. Now for some additional miscellaneous tips for Earn by Time. When I accept an order on Earn by Time, I wait until 1 minute before my designated pickup time on the top of the screen to go inside and pick up the order. Remember, you are getting paid by time after all. If DoorDash is giving you a time that they think the order will be ready at, use that. However, once you pick up the order, do not wait until the drop-off time that's on the top of the screen to complete the order. For one, you don't want to screw over a customer under any circumstances because you want to get paid more. And for two, this motherfucker Tony has eyes in the back of his head. DoorDash normally gives you way more time to deliver the order than needed, but they don't actually let you use that full time window. I have got contract violations and even been deactivated because I waited until the drop-off time to complete the order, which sometimes they literally give you an hour to complete the order. You shouldn't take it as slow as possible on Earn by Time, but you also don't have to fear deactivation if you don't rush your orders either. Somewhere in the middle is probably the best way to operate Earn by Time. And even if taking it extremely slow or quote-unquote milking Earn by Time was the best strategy, you would also just deliver less orders per hour that way, which just means you would get the full hourly rate, but less tips. And it's really not worth the risk of being deactivated. Next, let's talk about peak pay. Peak pay works a little different with Earn by Time. On the traditional pay mode or earn per offer, if there is $2 peak pay, it simply means that each order will have $2 more in base pay. On Earn by Time, that same $2 peak pay doubles and adds to your hourly rate. So for example, if your hourly rate is $14 an hour and there is $2 peak pay, your Earn by Time rate would simply go to $18 an hour. Given that peak pay normally gets added during busy peak times, staying busy with an hourly rate of almost $20 an hour plus tips is very good. Next, when I do accept long mileage deliveries, I text my customer my ETA. I don't think some customers realize just how far away they are ordering from sometimes. So texting a customer, "This is your Dasher, I'm just giving you an update, I just got your order and I'll be on the way shortly. There is an ETA of 24 minutes, so I appreciate your patience. See you soon." A text something like this not only keeps them up to date, but may encourage them to tip after delivery if they didn't realize you were coming from across the Mexican border.
They're eating the dogs.
The last tip is possibly the most helpful, but possibly the most risky, as in I don't know if this is allowed on the platform, so you didn't hear it from me. But DoorDash has the option to add other vehicles to your account to dash with. And certain vehicles, I'm not going to say which ones, but if chosen, are not given orders going more than 4 miles on the platform for safety and time-related reasons. I have an electric bike. It's pretty nice, and I've used it for dashing before. If you don't have any bike, they actually don't ask for any verification that you do have one. You can just say you do and they believe you, and they let you dash without seeing orders going more than 4 miles. But you didn't hear from me. All in all, I've come to the point where I know which areas tip well, which don't, which restaurants to take and which not to, when to deliver orders slower, when to be faster, which time of the day to be picky, which time of the day to be less picky. And I've got to the point where I can consistently make over $20 an hour on Earn by Time, or even $200 to $300 a day if I choose to work a longer shift. If this video has helped you in any way, please drop a like and stay tuned for more DoorDash driver tips and tricks.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Who can say